Our previous video focused on the historical center of Mexico City. This video will cover some of the surrounding neighborhoods. While we will mainly focus on Roma Norte, we will also mention things to do in Condesa, Chapultepec, and maybe even Polanco and Juarez if we have time. We cover food, shopping, walk or runability, monuments, and entertainment. We'll also cover some travel tips and include prices where we can. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Well, my first impression of Mexico City is that it's a very walkable city, and it's walkable in interesting ways. It's definitely sprawling, right? But you can take each section, neighborhood by neighborhood, and kind of do a lot of things and see a lot of attractions in that section, and everything in that section is pretty close together. And then if you really want to move on to the next neighborhood, it's not that far of a walk. We've jogged from the historical city center to Roma Norte, and that was supposed to take an hour walking, 33 minutes by car, but we jogged there in 20 minutes. So that'll kind of put things in perspective if you want to be in the historical center or Juarez or Condesa or Roma Norte. We're in Roma Norte right now, which is an interesting and also walkable neighborhood because there are certain intersections where it's just a free-for-all. It works out very well, everybody takes turns, but there's no stop signs, street lights, there's no button to push, there's no crosswalks. And then there's certain areas of the neighborhood where there are colorful rainbow crosswalks and then regular black and white crosswalks, or just white zebra striped crosswalks. Also, when you push a button and it says, stop, red man, and then it says, go, green or white man, they want you to run, not walk across the street. I'll show you an example. I got that from their traffic signals for pedestrians. So those are some tips on how to navigate the very walkable city that is Mexico City. I think you told me that the cost of an Uber 10-15 minutes across the city will only cost you $3 or $4.
Yeah, like today a mile and a half was only...
A mile and a half was only what?
Like $2.
$2?
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Yes, Mexico is one of the highest cities in the world, capital cities, at least in the Americas. And it's, I think, almost 8,000 meters high. And it's making me sick. I think it's starting to make Chris sick. We've had a lot of symptoms. I've mostly had most of the symptoms. I've really been struggling over the last 10 days with a muscle soreness. I'm short of breath. I only ran once. I couldn't exercise here besides 15 minutes of yoga one time. I'm out of breath when I climb the stairs. I feel congested because I'm going in from the hot and the cold so much, so I think that might not have to do with the altitude. It might not be a symptom, but I just did want to pause to say that none of the buildings seem to have central heat. You'll be lucky if you get a portable space heater, and all of the restaurants have this kind of inside-outside aspect to them. Even if you're inside the restaurant, you're still really outside because all the doors and windows are open and they have a real courtyard feel. So while you're struggling with the altitude, which that for some people it's dizziness, for me it's been a lot of nausea and it's really affected my digestive system. I'm having a lot of gas and bloating, and I'm having trouble passing stool. So I think you have to drink a lot of water when you're here. If you're coming from a place like we are that is at sea level, like Florida, it's quite an adjustment. So if you go here or Bogota or Cusco in Peru, same thing with these cities that are really high. There's altitude medication that you can get at pharmacies, but the best thing you can do is just drink water and not drink coffee or alcohol. It's high 40s in the morning, and it gets up to the low 70s at the high point of the day, and then goes back down into the 50s and then eventually the 40s. It takes a very long time to heat up, but then it quickly cools down. That's been my impression.
What month are you talking about?
We're in January. We arrived in December 25th through January 4th has been our trip. So it's the dry season and it's sunny every day. The sun is out, the sky is blue, except for when we first arrived, when the sky was yellow. That was strange. But we've had almost cloudless blue skies every day. In the middle of the day at the high point, when it's 73 blue skies and the sun is shining directly on you, it's actually quite nice. You actually have to strip off your coat and you can feel really, really good.
Can you discuss the pollution levels? Because on my phone, there was an indicator that it was very poor and you should be inside and not doing activities. So if you can discuss that.
So don't do what my husband Chris does and run when pollution warnings are very high, which they have been several days that we've been here. So the air quality is often very poor because there's 22 million people that live in this city. I also think that could be contributing to us having kind of upper respiratory head symptoms or head colds, where we were having a little bit of a cough and some runny nose issues. So that could be due to air quality, or it could be because we're constantly going from cold to warm to cold. I think our bodies are also getting really worn down from just being cold all the time, because the buildings on the inside are very old and they're not insulated, or if they are, they're not well insulated. And so we just can't seem to warm up, because that combined with the lack of central heating means, it's 65 degrees inside your apartment. And every apartment we've been in has been like that. And I think that's really hard on our bodies and it's really exhausting us. So we've been having to take naps and going to bed early. So about the trash, there's a section in front of someone's door and everybody just throws their trash there. Also, there's a plastic bottle hanging off of a door, and it's like a big giant plastic water bottle, maybe 2 gallon, with a cutout, and you can put your cigarettes in there. There aren't trash cans all along the sidewalk. There is a trash truck that comes by and someone rings a bell and everybody comes out and puts their trash in that dump truck. And there's a dump truck that drives around with a bunch of recycling on it, and they seem to sort the recycling in the street. So
when it comes to recycling, there's not recycling in apartments. Pretty much people just have one big trash can to bring it out.
They sort it out later. I don't think any of the other prices have been that low, because we're in a pretty gentrified neighborhood, although I did get my hair washed and blown out today, and it cost 400 pesos. And I think that's pretty cheap. I can't do the exchange.
$5.
So $20. But maybe not. I mean, it would cost more in New York City, that for a blowout. I found clothing prices to be the same. I found the restaurants we've been going to, I think, have actually been quite expensive. So I'll give you a list of those.
Can you talk about the mall?
The shopping here is great. It's not just the mall, but there was this multi-story, gigantic, I'm talking like industrial complex style, like size of this mall. It had everything in it. If you wanted locally made handcrafted stuff and boutiques, it had that. If you wanted chain stores like H&M and Zara, it had that. If you wanted high-end luxury stores, it had that. It had the restaurants and the food court and the parking below and everything. You could spend all day there. You could stay there for dinner. It was definitely a fun experience. And then if you don't like something that's quite so commercial, I mean, it was beautiful inside, decorated for Christmas. You can just walk around your neighborhood, especially if it's Roma Norte, and you can just go from consignment shop to boutique to specialty shop and find really unique locally made or handmade items.
We just stopped at the boutique and check it out. Tara got this cute.
We should show them the name of the boutique. We should show them.
No, it's our
back
secret.
there. Oh, okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
We really like this flat. I don't remember how much this Airbnb was, but I'll put it in the text above, on the screen next to my head somewhere, and I'll link it in the description below. But it's a good size, and ceilings are high, and it has like just really nice materials. It's made out of concrete and ceramic tile and metal and wood and really nice finishes. Roma Norte has a ton of cafes. We are listing some of the more popular ones here. We will do a deeper dive into a few of them in a few minutes. For a brief overview, Cicatrice is good for breakfast or dinner, and there's live music in the evening. Cafe Trucha or Truca is good for cakes and pastries, but it doesn't open till 9 a.m. Cafe Malou is great for breakfast and has awesome customer service. Raku is Japanese style offerings, so that's really different. Bottega isn't really a cafe, it's more of a restaurant, but it has a bakery. And I'm gonna go into detail more about El Péndulo later, so I'll skip it for now. But I have to warn you though, there's no decaf coffee to be found anywhere in this neighborhood, in this part of Roma Norte. I went from coffee shop to coffee shop this morning asking. Also, I can't find decaffeinated coffee in this entire neighborhood. I've tried 3 coffee shops. None of them have it. Maybe it's not popular, decaf, in Roma Norte. Also, good luck trying to get lunch before 1 p.m. A lot of restaurants look like they're open, they're setting up, the staff is eating, but it's not lunchtime yet. If you are hungry at this hour, try Mexican street food. The locals are all out eating on the street at this time. Also, try Ristorante Rosetta. It's an Italian restaurant in a beautiful building, but make sure you make a reservation.
That's cinnamon, probably. Maybe? No? Okay. It just fell off a tree, maybe. Look at this. Absolutely beautiful bread with some tree branches in the water. All right, I'm just gonna record. Don't talk.
Roma Norte has a lot of great vegetarian options too. We just saw this restaurant called Casa Moma while walking in our neighborhood and decided to eat there on a whim. No reservation needed. It was so beautiful and the customer service was so good and the food was delicious. It cost about 1,278 Mexican pesos for 2 people, which is about $64. Here are some other recommendations for food and drink in the Roma Norte neighborhood. Meroma is good for dinner because it has a terrace overlooking the street. It's not too fancy. Cicatrice is a cafe that's good for breakfast or dinner. There's live music in the evening. I highly recommend Cafeteria El Péndulo because you could spend all day in there. There's a cafe or restaurant or bar on each floor, and it's got art and flowers and music and books, and there's just a whole lot of shopping actually to be done there. I bought a ton of items, presents for friends there. But I had a really good time at this live bookstore cafe, which has a cafeteria on each level. We also liked Cafe Arixi. We just stumbled upon it one night, no reservations, but we like the food, wine, dessert, and customer service there. Oh, and there's a few more places in this neighborhood that I forgot to mention that are really special. You can take a cooking class at Sobremesa, but you'll need a reservation. Right next to Roma Norte, you'll find La Condesa, often paired with Roma due to their similar vibe. It's another leafy, laid-back neighborhood with beautiful Art Deco architecture, especially around its 2 main parks. Speaking of its 2 main parks, you'll definitely want to check out Parque Mexico, a sprawling, iconic oval park perfect for a leisurely stroll, people watching, and even dog watching. You might catch dance lessons, skateboarders, or rollerbladers there. Parque España is another lovely green space, ideal for relaxing with a coffee. Avenida or Calle Amsterdam is a former horse racing track turned tree-covered pedestrian walkway lined with charming cafes and boutiques. Here are more Condesa suggestions in rapid-fire succession. Check out Hugo Wine Bar, it features natural wines. Try their radicchio salad and fried calamari. If you like Italian, go to Anonima or Botanico, which is a fine dining in a home from the 1950s with an amazing garden and pond for dinner. Ololo is a good place for cocktails and records. They have a live DJ. Go to Lardo for pastries, brunch, and specialty coffee. And check out El Increíble bookstore and cafe. Just beyond Condesa is the Chapultepec Forest, or Bosque de Chapultepec, which is more than 866 hectares, or 2,140 acres, making it one of the largest urban parks in the Western Hemisphere. It houses numerous cultural attractions, museums, lakes, and the historic Chapultepec Castle, which my husband accidentally ran into during a run, and he was so fascinated by it that he paid the entry fee and entered and took a tour and said it was well worth it. The entry fee is 100 Mexican pesos, just over $5 US, and it has a pretty cool museum inside. We apologize for not including more of Juarez in this video, but we didn't spend much time there and the video is getting a little long, so we'll go ahead and put our recommendations for Juarez in the video's description. Until next time, timid investors, thanks for watching.